Welcome to the Rustic Garden. Today I want to talk about two home remedies, two natural remedies, hydrogen peroxide and baking soda. Baking soda is considered organic. Hydrogen peroxide is not considered organic. However, tomato plants produce their own hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is formed in the atmosphere, so you can decide if you want to use it or not. These are inexpensive ways to really manage fungal and bacterial diseases on your tomato plants. Today is August 17th. This is one tomato plant that's going to be in this video, but all my tomatoes are growing the best they have ever grown over the last 5 or 10 years because of the hydrogen peroxide. So this is an early girl. There are about 20 tomatoes on there as of middle of August. Peally my plants die off from leaf spot or early blight. Let me show you what leaf spot looks like, and then I'll talk to you about how I'm going to use the hydrogen peroxide and baking soda to take care of these plants. When you see little black specks on your leaves with a yellow ring around it, here's a great example. Black spots, yellow ring around it, that's usually leaf spot or something similar. We're going to go to another plant. I'll show you what early blight looks like. So let me just talk about hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, they prevent the fungal diseases, but they work differently. Hydrogen peroxide, when you spray it onto your plant, and I'm using 12 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, 3% from the grocery store, from a pharmacy, in 1 gallon of water. Soak the tops, soak the bottom, soak the stems. When you spray on hydrogen peroxide, what it does is it coats the leaf, the H2O2 reacts, we're not going to get into the chemistry, it kills the fungi, the fungus on there, the bacteria on there, kind of cleans your leaves, and it's a great way to stop an outbreak. And we'll talk about how to use it when you have an outbreak, how to use it for maintenance. But once you spray the H2O2, hydrogen peroxide, it does its thing and then it's gone, and it doesn't prevent the fungi, the bacteria from landing on your leaves and establishing. The baking soda will do that, so we're going to use them in tandem. If you don't want to use baking soda, you could use wettable sulfur, you could use Serenade, you could use Daconol, that's up to you. When you put baking soda down, and again, that's something you can get out of your kitchen, it changes the pH level of the leaf. It raises the pH, and by raising the pH level on the leaf, it makes it inhospitable to these fungi. They want a specific pH that is natural with the tomato leaf, and when you add in baking soda, you raise the pH. When you add in sulfur, you lower the pH. So what does that mean? It means we hit it with hydrogen peroxide, kill off a lot of what's on there. None of these are 100% perfect. And then after we do that either once or we do it twice if there's an outbreak, we're then going to hit it the next day with baking soda. And the baking soda will be put on every week. So let's go over what I mean. Alright, let's pretend this tomato plant looks great. There's no disease on here whatsoever. It looks just like this over here on this side. It's been a week since we put the baking soda on. New day. We hit it with the hydrogen peroxide. Top of the leaf, underside of the leaf, clean the leaf, the H2O2 does its thing, it's gone. Day one. Day two, we come out here, we spray the tops and the bottoms with baking soda. We use 1 to 2 tablespoons of baking soda in a gallon of water. We coat the top of the leaves, the bottom of the leaves, and we let it go. 1 week later, we come back out, we spray it again with hydrogen peroxide, wait a day, put the baking soda down. And that would be the maintenance routine to protect this plant from having the diseases establish. And you just continue with that. Now suppose you end up with an outbreak. So I come out, I find the outbreak. So I hit this with hydrogen peroxide, and again, I'm using 12 tablespoons per gallon. I'm going to link the video that shows you how I worked this spray up from 8 tablespoons per gallon. And I highly recommend you start with 8 tablespoons, work your way up, and arrive at the dosage that works best for you. And test spray. Anytime you bring a new spray out here, spray some leaves, top, bottom, wait 48 hours, look for damage. That's on you. You gotta test out your sprays. So we come out, we see, hey, leaf spot has entered the plant. So we hit it day one, hydrogen peroxide, top, bottom. Day two, we let go, we skip. Day three, we hit it again with the hydrogen peroxide, clean the sides, top and bottom twice. So day one spray, day two skip, day three spray with the hydrogen peroxide. Day four, skip, and then you're going to put down the baking soda, and you're going to let that go for 7 days, and then you would repeat as needed afterwards. Hope that makes sense. That's the maintenance that I'm going to personally use in the rusted garden for the rest of this year and for next year. And I may change it, but it's essentially going to be 1 spray of hydrogen peroxide, wait a day, baking soda. If there's a disease, I'm going to do it twice with hydrogen peroxide, try and get it under control. Leaf spot's what comes into my area. I am thrilled to death that I have tomatoes this size come mid-August. Here's another tomato that has been taken care of with hydrogen peroxide. This is the Brandywine, and any of you that grow Brandywines, you know that they are really susceptible to diseases. And the hydrogen peroxide has changed really the way I can garden this year and next year and going forward, because it's keeping these diseases under control. Bottom is fine. They're going to die out. The diseases are going to attach. The fungi are going to attach. But there's nothing up here. And now that the temperatures come down, the flowers are coming back, I'm going to have Brandywine tomatoes later into the season. All right, let me show you what early blight looks like, because the pattern is different. So this is another Brandywine variety, and the pattern is different. Early blight or similar diseases look more like this. It's a brown spot, and it's rings within rings within rings of concentric circles. That's a circle within a circle within a circle. When you look at it, you can see that pattern. If this was just one brown patch, that is not early blight. This is a good example of what it might be. It's been stopped because notice there's no yellow ring around here with the hydrogen peroxide, and all my tomatoes are going to be getting sprayed the same way. So let me set up my sprays. I'll show you how I do that, and I want to go over again the routine because it's really important. You don't want to spray hydrogen peroxide and then hit it with baking soda. You give the plants, you know, a day or so to rest between putting on different sprays. Spraying's pretty straightforward, but let me give you a couple of basics. This is a 2-gallon sprayer, which I recommend if you have a larger yard. I mark on here 1 gallon, 2 gallon. It's hard to see because they just press the measurements on there. All the sprayers come with an adjustable nozzle, but you want one that really creates a nice fine mist, because you want to coat the entire leaves and the entire plant with just a mist of whatever you're putting on there. You don't want a jet of water hitting that. And this is a release pressure valve, so that when you pressurize this, if you need to open it, if you just open this top, the pressure is going to come out and it's going to spray up on you. You can just lift that up and it lets the pressure out. So for spraying the tomatoes, and again, I'll go over the frequency in a second. Just soak everything down. I usually start just like this, get low on the ground, because then I can get on the undersides, and you're going to coat the tops and the bottoms of the leaves with your spray. You don't have to overdo it. Nice soaking just like that. Now, to be clear, if you come to your plants and they do have, you know, leaf spot or disease on here, you're going to hit them with the hydrogen peroxide on day 1. You're going to skip the entire day 2, hit it again with the peroxide, and then the next day, or you can wait a full 24 hours, skip a day, hit it with the baking soda spray or your antifungal like the sulfur spray, Serenade, or Daconil. Usually, you know, I say wait 24 hours or skip a day. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing. You just want to wait a good 24 hours so that you're not piling the sprays on top of each other. All right, hopefully that makes sense. And again, you're going to spray hydrogen peroxide once. If your tomatoes look like this, no disease, spray it, wait 24 hours. You could skip a full day, hit it with the baking soda, 7 days, repeat. Now, if you're in a zone that doesn't have a lot of disease, you can, you know, go 10 days to 14 days. It really depends on your gardening zone. So I'm going to go about every 7 days because I know the diseases that come in my area. The other question is when do you start spraying? It's best to start spraying about 2 to 4 weeks before you know the diseases arrive. Leaf spot, early blight don't affect my tomatoes when they get planted late April, May, and usually the beginning of June. It usually starts rolling in middle of June, so that's when you want to start spraying. All right, I'm going to end here, but I'm going to do a quick tour of the other tomatoes if you just want to see what they look like with the hydrogen peroxide treatment that I've been talking about. Thanks for watching. please check out my seed shop at www.therustedgarden.com, and I will put links into Amazon for some of the sprayers that you may want to use in your garden. Okay, let's go over to the 8-foot tall tomatoes. This is my general tomato garden. These plants are somewhere between 4 and 6 feet tall. They've been managed with the hydrogen peroxide and different antifungals. Sometimes I use wettable sulfur. Really depends on what you want. The most important thing is that you really set up a routine. Pick what you want to use, stick to the routine. But it's mid-August, as I mentioned, here at Maryland Zone 7. Typically my tomatoes are wiped out by early blight. Here's a couple more. These are about 6 feet tall. Some of the leaf spot in there, these have been sprayed. Another example of what the early blight pattern can look like. And you can see for this one, there's a hole in there. The yellowing is just the leaf die-off. It's not a nice bright ring around there. This has been killed off, and then one sign of that is that the leaf is crumbling underneath. There is a hole right in there. The hydrogen peroxide really works. Again, make sure you test spray, and I will link that video that shows you how I worked up from 8 tablespoons per gallon all the way up. Here are my 8-foot tomatoes. That's a black cherry, a couple hybrids back there, and you can see leaves are beat up and dying off. That's okay, as long as you have upper growth growing well, 2/3 of the plant are nice and green, you're going to have tomatoes well into the season. Alright, again, thanks for watching.